I am here with my wonderful friend, Erica Dwan, a member of our 100 Coaches organization, Thinkers 50, one of the great leaders of the future. I went to undergraduate school at Wharton, master's degree from MIT, from Harvard. Brilliant person. I love the new thing you're talking about, digital body language. I have never heard anyone speak of digital body language before. What do you mean?
So we all know what human body language is. Oftentimes, up to 80% of face-to-face communication is really through body language. But in today's world, when we're often in global, virtual teams, most of the time, up to 80% of the time, we're not in the room with one another anymore.
That's right.
We have to understand what are the new cues and signals of being able to read people, to understand what do they really mean when they wrote that email or they sent that at a certain time. And digital body language are the new hidden cues and signals in our digital conversations. They help us understand why did someone send that timing of the email at that point? Or if a CEO writes an okay with a period, does that period mean something? Everything from the choice of the medium we use, to the punctuation we use, to the timing of a response, to who we CC and BCC in our conversations are signals of digital body language today. Oftentimes we think we know exactly what another person is saying, but what we've actually seen in the data is that there's an immense amount of misunderstanding, anxiety, and confusion on what did that person really mean? Because we don't have the context of the stare, the eye, the nod, the shake that we used to in human body language. So I have a few best practices to help people actually make sure that they're learning a little more about their own digital styles, but also using digital body language intelligently.
Can you give me one or two?
Of course. The first one is that brevity can cause confusion. Oftentimes, we go for the shortest email, the okay or send me this, but many stories, one of my favorite examples was a CMO who was sent a big document from her team about a big project and writes a one-liner that as just a random thought she had in her head that she would say in a meeting, but people wouldn't take serious, they would take as just an idea. All of a sudden, after that one-liner email, because they hadn't really seen her context, they created a work stream within a week and spent hours working on something that she didn't even really need.
I see.
And so sometimes we have to be really conscious of how are we communicating and are we really being clear in today's world, and that there are new signals that we have to be conscious of. The second is that timing is everything. Oftentimes, what we see is that we can respond 24/7 all the time. Some people expect that, some people would never expect that. And we really have to think differently about expectations around timing. One of the greatest things I've found in my research is that if you send a thank you email within a few minutes or an hour of a meeting versus a few days or a week later, there's a significant difference in how people feel connected to that thank you. And it's simply because it's almost like a signal of the virtual handshake, which is something that we can't do in the same way in a virtual realm. So I'd encourage everyone to think about what type of digital body language am I projecting, and how can I make sure I'm being clear and avoiding being misunderstood in today's digital era?
It's interesting because one of the great leaders I had the privilege to work with over the years is Mike Duke. Mike was the CEO of Walmart. He retired pretty recently, and he was getting some feedback that he kind of expected people to be around 24/7. He really didn't. Yet he would send emails over the weekend, and he is the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world, and people get email from the big boss, they feel a need to respond to it. What he learned to do, a very simple process, is he would still write the emails all weekend and just not send them. And he would send them all out on Monday. That way, he didn't give people this feeling that he was expecting them to work over the weekend, which he really didn't. As you said, though, there's often a gap between what I think I say digitally and what they hear. And he learned what he thought he was saying was not what they were hearing. And when he changed it and acknowledged their input, things got a lot better. So thank you. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.